All right, guys, we are back. It's only been 1 week this time.
It's only been 1 week. Everybody's here. I guess everybody's pretty much going to be here. Maybe we might have some issues during the holidays, but I think we're going to be good for a while.
Yeah, we're good. You know what I like about the show is it's after dark, so everybody's out of the deer woods, including myself, so I can be here. You can see my pretty face. We are going to feed Mr. Wilson tonight.
I think we need to start the show.
You want to start the show?
Start the show.
Jeff, what do you think? How many goldfish we got tonight? I'm not supposed to say goldfish. That's politically incorrect.
Is it? They're gold and they're fish.
Well, maybe we'll just call them minnows.
They're feeder fish.
Feeder fish. That's
feeder fish. That's the way they sell them. Feeder fish.
So anybody want to take bets on how long it takes Mr. Wilson to devour whatever's in that bag? I'm all ears. What do you think?
It's not going to take long. Look at him.
When's the last time
skinny.
you ate,
Saturday.
Saturday? You starving the poor fella.
No, they eat twice a week.
Sunday,
That's right, twice a week.
Twice a week.
Twice a week. All right, so Mr. Wilson is hungry, Lori. We're getting ready to hook him up, though.
He is. Look at him.
Getting food for Mr. Wilson. That's right, Rick. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. We got over 100 viewers, up to 115 already. We do have a special edition of What's in the Box tonight.
What's in the Box?
We both brought a box.
2 boxes.
For your viewing pleasure. And we will be diving into those.
Wintertime tactics.
Wintertime tactics, that's right. We want to do something that apply to this time of year, and it's starting to get cold. I mean, it's snowing up north.
Yeah, it's snowing up north. We've had a week of weather in the low 50s, the low 30s for the lows.
It sleeted on our road yesterday.
I thought I seen sleet the other day.
Yeah.
I didn't say it because I thought it might have been crazy.
Yeah.
But
no, you definitely saw sleet.
I did.
All right, so we're going to feed Wilson, Jeff, to get the show kicked off.
Are we ready?
Here, can you get that knot untied? Because I cannot.
I'll try.
All right, I'm gonna let Thrift do the honors.
Does anybody know the name of this knot? I cannot.
It's called an overhand knot.
I think you're just going to have to poke the bag.
Okay, I can do it with a pen. I got a pen.
Like, I would go with a tear.
I can do it. Just give me the bag.
All right. Here, I'll hold the camera.
Out of anybody in the room, y'all should.
Oh,
be
you're
able to
gonna
handle fish.
you're gonna untie it, and then Brian's gonna dump them in.
I just.
Look at him.
Oh my god.
Look at Wilson.
We're good. We still lined up good.
I think so.
Brian. So Brian walked around the table. If anybody just lost track of what was going on, and kicked one of our cameras.
All right, we ready?
Hang on.
All right, hold on. Let Jeff get situated. Let him get situated.
I gotta do this hand cam thing.
The hand cam.
Gold carp. I like that, Mark. We'll call him Gold Carp.
Mr. Wilson,
Yeah.
hand cam.
It snowed in Shreveport. Really? Benjamin Ott said it snowed in Shreveport today.
I thought we were prepared, Jeff.
I am, but I'm trying to get the good angle.
All right. Snowed a little in Kentucky, Jeremy said. Marvin, we're going to get some crawfish. Oh, I saw in the group that Marvin won his first club tournament down at Lake Murray.
Yeah,
So
I see that.
congrats to Marvin.
See what happens.
We're ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
Watch him. There he goes.
All right, here. Oh, my. He didn't even let him hit the water, dude.
One on top.
He's confused on which way to go. Look, there's one white one on there. There's one white one in there. Let's see if he doesn't. Color doesn't matter to him. Well, he still. He ate the white one. No, he didn't. He missed the white one.
He's slowing down a little bit.
He is. I don't think he's going to have these eaten very quick. Somebody said 55 seconds on there a minute ago, and snowed in Ohio. Yeah, I was talking to. Josh, that's right. Josh, my buddy Josh is up in Ohio doing some bow hunting. Jacob Wheeler, I was talking to him on the phone before I came in here. He's in Ohio doing some bow hunting. He said it's snowing up there. Cold up there in Ohio. Wow, it snowed everywhere. It snowed in Texas.
Is they still calling for snow here on Thursday?
Hot Springs,
What?
Arkansas. Michael Cates said.
I refuse to believe it snowed in Hot Springs. Every time I've ever been there, it's been like 100.
When we were there in
It
August.
should never snow in a place called Hot Springs.
No, it should not. You are correct.
Dude, he's slowing down quite a bit, isn't he?
He's getting old.
He's getting old.
He's only.
He's like a ninja, though. He just kind of
He is kind of ninja-like.
slips around. And
Austin Williams has called us out on every good Southern boy should carry a pocket knife.
I agree, Austin. Normally I have my knife, but I took a shower and changed my pants before I came to the show. All right, so are we coming off Mr. Wilson? He's not very entertaining tonight. Oh, he just got another one.
It's always entertaining.
I'm sorry, I gotta work out more.
All right, Jeff can only hold a 6.3 ounce iPad for 45 seconds.
It's
Yeah.
a mini. It's a mini. It's not big.
All right. Jimmy Barnes, he said it snowed in Arkansas and more tomorrow.
That is insane.
It's rain here and a lot of rain. I think we've had as much rain the last 2 days as we
It's
did
the
during the
wettest
hurricanes.
fall I can remember.
Yep.
I think we had like 3 inches, yesterday, day before yesterday. Supposed to get 2 inches tomorrow.
2 more inches tomorrow?
Yes.
Ugh. I am going hunting in the morning because there's going to be a break in the rain.
Ooh.
And I think it's going to be good.
I seen 4 behind the house today. It's
In the
periodic.
daylight?
Oh, yeah.
All right. They move in that
Yeah,
rain.
they're moving right now pretty good. So
All right,
that's
so
enough deer hunting.
my buddy heater, Jesse Floyd said his buddy heater was running all day in the stand in East Texas. Was it that cold in Texas? Well, they did say it snowed.
Look, when you're sitting on your butt not doing nothing and it's 30 degrees, it's cold.
That's true.
It
That's
doesn't
true.
matter. Like 40's cold then.
Yep. All right, guys, we're going to jump into what's in the box. What's up?
I got a comment on Ryan Love. He said, tell Brian to have his new boat delivered so it will snow. That is a fact. For the last
That
6
is
years,
true.
every time I get my new boat in, I have to bring it home from the dealership in the snow. Never fails.
Yes, so we're due for a snow because your boat's at the dealership. And
It's
they're
at the
gonna
It's
start
dealership.
racing
supposed to
it.
snow Thursday.
Wait, when
Check
are you
your
picking
weather.
it? Didn't you just tell me you're picking
Friday.
it up?
So it probably will
Brian
snow
said
Thursday.
Before the show started, he was going to pick his new boat up Friday. So that snow probably moved to Friday. And then I love deer hunting in the snow, though. Easy to follow those blood trails.
I don't think I've ever hunted in the snow.
Well, you might get the chance this year.
Nah.
You actually have to leave the house to hunt in the snow, though.
No, you
Since
don't.
you hunt from the house,
Yeah.
it's not really
So
in the snow.
It still
you know?
counts, though. Hey, and speaking of dealerships, Angler's Choice Marine has their 3 open houses coming up in January.
Do we know the date? What we know the dates, but we
know
don't have
the-
them yet. But we'll get them for everybody.
Yeah, so everybody in the area, keep a lookout for that. The Spindale store, Lexington store, and the store in Martinsville, Virginia. Are you going to be at any of those?
I will be at the Martinsville, Virginia open house.
Gotcha.
That's the only one I'll be able to make this year. So, and you said you
I'm going to actually be gone for all of them.
Yeah, I thought
so
you said
I'm
that.
not going. Last year I was able to make 2 of them, and this year it's worked out. I'm going to fish the Coastas and the FLW Tour, and all conflicting dates.
well, all right. So we're gonna dive in. Oh, Ronald Young, what's up, Ronald? Thanks for watching, man. He said 27 degrees near Lake Travis. Ooh. So it's cold in Texas.
cold
It's colder
everywhere.
in Texas than it is here. 20 degrees in Iowa. Sean said, yeah, it's getting cold everywhere apparently.
Yeah.
Iowa, man, me and Sean need to become buddies.
That's where
What are
need
you
to be
going to do
hunting
in
right now.
Iowa?
Kill giant bucks. That's what Iowa's known for.
Hey, Sean, do you
Except,
deer hunt?
except the problem with Iowa is for a non-resident. It
We
takes.
might can work something out with little.
Hey, I trade. I don't know about Brian, but I trade
I'm not
fishing
even
trips
in this
for deer
conversation,
hunts.
evidently.
I trade fishing trips
That's
for deer
a
hunts.
standing offer.
Just
Sean.
throwing that out there.
Well,
Now those deer hunts are restricted to like 4 or 5 states in the U.S. Is that bad, Jeff? That's pretty bad. But the fishing,
Kansas, Iowa.
yeah, we can name them all. We can pop them off pretty quick. But anyway, back to
I'm good.
our main topic tonight. Brian said he ain't trading a fishing trip for deer hunting.
I could have
trips.
told you that.
I'll do that.
I
I'll do that in a heartbeat.
don't know. I like
You'll
deer
trade me
hunting,
a
but it
bottle of
doesn't like excite
Pappas.
me.
You'll-
No, that will do.
Had a discussion today about you.
Hey, did you find me another one?
Coming out this week.
He'll trade a
Are
fishing
you
trip
getting-
for what? A bottle of
Ooh.
Pappies? Bottle of Pappies.
Bottle of
Gotta have
Pappas.
for the
Like the
collection.
$10,000 bottle?
No,
We've
no,
talked
no,
about
no,
this.
no,
No,
no.
no.
Like the $200 bottle.
Yeah, like the one Brian can afford.
Oh, yeah, okay. All right, here we
I
go.
didn't know they had a $20,000 bottle.
Hey, I got to start reading these
Hey,
comments.
I
instead
got
of
a
doing
bottle I'll
what's in
sell you for $20,000.
the- Yeah. That's a pretty good return on your investment there, I bet, huh? All right,
Decent.
so you want to start or you want me to start?
You can start us up tonight.
Okay, so we have 2 different boxes tonight. Brian brought one out of his boat. I brought one out of my boat.
I have a feeling my arm's getting ready to start hurting again.
Why?
You're gonna have to hold the iPad
So I'm
again.
gonna hold it.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. You do need to hold that out there.
We need to get some new stands. If anyone wants to donate some stands to the show, we're game.
Some what?
Some new stands. I need a
Stands.
what's in the box stand.
No, they could donate like a weightlifter's bench, and you could maybe use that once a year or something.
That's not even funny.
Hey, we could have
That
got
really wasn't funny.
Hey,
All right, bad joke.
You
Sorry.
turned Bruce down. He wanted to come sit in on the show. He could have been
Matt
the iPad.
turned Bruce down.
Hey,
I'm
Joey,
inviting
hey,
Bruce
we-
right now.
we
Bruce,
just-
come on over.
Joey Randall, we just bumped up him on the fan ladder. He said, "What you boys know about bourbon, my dudes." We know a little
He
bit.
is.
We don't know a lot. We pretend to know a lot. We don't know that
anything.
much.
We did get it last week, and I should have my hands on it by Friday.
Have you got me one coming?
Pappy got
Seriously?
released last
Yes.
week, Joey
Okay.
said.
All right, we're good
What's
then.
up, Wayman?
All right,
Wayman Coleman.
we're delaying.
What's up, man? Thanks
As
for
my
watching.
wife calls my son, you are being a delay fish.
It's called procrastinating.
Delay fish.
A delay fish.
Delay fish.
All right, so what camera am I going after, Jeff?
You just tell me when you're ready. This might be
All right. So, how many of you guys, and y'all chime in, let me know, are familiar with it? Now, this technique is starting to gain a lot more traction in our industry. The last, I'd say, 2 years, Brian, maybe something like that.
I'm very unfamiliar with this technique.
Yeah, well, maybe you'll learn something tonight.
I may.
I haven't caught a ton doing this, but I've caught
never
some fish
done
doing
this,
it.
so
All right,
I do not know.
Very simple. It's almost idiot proof. I hate to say that, but it's a technique that's overlooked, but is using ice jigs. And this is my box of ice jigs. Now there's only 3 sizes that I really use. And there's are you on me, Jeff? Can they see that? There's a half
Get on
ounce.
him, Jeff.
There's a half ounce. There's a 5/8 ounce, and there's a 7/8 ounce. So those are the only 3 sizes that I use. Now they do make, this is the Lunker Hunt straight up. And what I like about this, they do make some smaller sizes. They make a 3/16 also. But the half, which, let me pull one out here. You can kind of see the size of the half ounce. That's about as small as I go right there.
What
And
size is that?
This is a half.
That's a half ounce.
You're not listening to me very closely, are you?
Well, I heard you say sizes. I want to look at one. I've never.
That's a 7/8. That's the biggest
Got a
one.
lot of hooks.
Yeah, that's the 7/8. They do have a lot of hooks, which is a good thing, because if you look at this jig here, and what's cool about the Lunker Hunt straight ups is what I like so much is we use a paint print process. So it's actually real life photos of, that's actually the threadfin shad pattern. If you look at that closely, you can see how lifelike that is. So these are actually pictures of, I've got a bluegill pattern here, I've got a gizzard shad pattern here, and then it's a paint print process where the lead is actually poured and then it's wrapped on each side, and then it's got a clear coat on top of it to protect it. So that's the half ounce size. That's in the threadfin shad pattern. Here is that's the 7/8, I believe. That's in the gizzard shad pattern there. And my setups, and it's a really simple technique. Now, let me tell you something about this technique, because it's something that I don't directly dive into. It's something that if they're not biting, if you're on a vertical type bite, say a spoon bite, we've talked about the Damiki spoon and the spud spoon and things like that, and we're vertical jigging for those fish. Now we cast those spoons around and catch them too, but if you're on a vertical type bite and you can't catch them on the spoon, or you can't catch them on a drop shot, kind of some of the obvious techniques, that's when I resort to something like the straight up. And the reason I do that is because what this does is it'll trigger an inactive fish to start to feed. And the reason is, if you look at these jigs here and you look at that fin on the back, you see the blade on the back, and what that causes it to do now, and I'll tell you real quick my setup. My setup, I like to use bait casting equipment. I do know there's a lot of guys out there that use spinning tackle for this. I know Brian would probably prefer bait casting equipment too.
Yeah, I would, as heavy as that is, I would go bait caster.
7/8, even down to a half ounce. But I do know guys that use that half ounce, and they'll actually use a spinning rod with a braid leader or a fluorocarbon leader tied to braid. And one thing that I do like to do is I will use a snap on that eyelet up top, and what that snap does is it prevents line twists and things like that. I'll also take that factory hook. The factory hook's good, but I'll switch it out on the 7/8 model and the 5/8 model. I'll switch it out to a number 6 Gamakatsu round bend, the little bronze hooks. And if you'll see the point on the bottom of that straight up right there, I'll just take my pliers and I'll pinch it out just enough to slide that hook off. I don't use a split ring or anything on there because I don't want it hanging too far down. It causes it to hang up a lot easier and things like that. But technique-wise, it's very simple. You drop the bait down, you let it go. I like to put it above the fish. So if the fish is holding in 15 foot of water, over 20 foot, your bottom's at 20 foot, I'll drop it down to about 12 or 13 foot, and I'll watch them on my graph, and I'll basically just hop it just like that. And what that fin on the back of these straight ups does is it makes it inconsistent every time it begins to fall. So it may dart forward, it may dart backwards, it may go 2 foot to the left, it may go 2 foot to the right, and that's what triggers those inactive fish to feed. The 7/8 model is something that I'll use a lot more when I'm fishing about 35 to 40 feet deep. If I can get one unhung here, I'll show it to you.
There's a lot of hooks on this
There's
creature.
a lot of hooks.
lot of hooks on it.
There's a lot of hooks on it. That's the 7/8 model there. That's in the bluegill pattern. And you see how lifelike that is. But there again, I'll use a snap on the top. I'll change that bottom hook out to a little number 6 Gamakatsu round bend treble, and I'll set it up. I'll use on the 7/8. I'll actually use, and even down to the 5/8, I'll actually use a 7-foot medium heavy rod. And I'll use up to 15-pound P-line fluorocarbon. And the reason I'll use 15-pound, I'll use 15-pound a lot of times when I'm fishing around timber, like the blue-black herring lakes, places like Lake Hartwell or Clark's Hill, places that have a lot of standing timber in them. And I'm catching a lot of those fish that are set up on those timber lines. Now, if I'm fishing open water, structure's not an issue, I'll go down to either 12 or 10-pound P-line fluorocarbon. Same rod and reel setup. I'll use a 7-3-to-1 reel. I'll use a 7-foot medium heavy rod, and I'll use 10 or 12-pound fluorocarbon if it's strictly open water.
We got a topwater bite going on over here.
I think he's just about knocked it. Look how fat he is now.
Yeah.
Let's take a look how fat he is now. But
That's insane.
Look at his belly. I don't see a goldfish in there. Do you?
I think he's ate them all. He has ate them all.
Every single one of them.
Here's a question from Andy, Matt. Do
Yeah.
you count it down or watch it on the graph?
I'll watch it on the graph, Andy. So, and that's the other thing. When you're fishing, and Brian can tell you this, Brian's one of the best in the world at this, dialing in those electronics. When you're fishing down past that, I'd say 25 to 30-foot range, adjust your sensitivity accordingly to where you can
zoom in.
And zoom in, absolutely.
Zoom in is a big key, because especially in the wintertime, because a lot of time fish in the winter, they'll set so close to the bottom that unless you're actually zoomed in on the bottom, you won't be able to separate the fish from the bottom
Target
of the lake.
separation,
Right.
yeah, that's a big deal. And that's one thing that I know you use a little bit of everything, but that's one thing that Lowrance prides himself on,
Right.
is clarity and target separation.
Right.
And that is a big deal, like Brian said, especially if you're looking, and we've seen this before, if you're looking in ditches and things like that.
Right.
Those fish, and I've seen this at Hartwell, they will tuck into the side of a ditch.
Yeah, and you can't
you
see
can't
'em.
see them. You just can't see them.
Nope.
And it's funny because you'll graph a ditch and you'll see nothing, and you'll drop a worm down there, and you'll hook
they'll-
one, and then
spaghetti,
25 of them
yeah.
will come up through there. So it'll blow your mind. This is just another pattern that I like. That's the common shiner pattern. But basically, there's only about 4 colors that I use. We make a lot of different cool colors. The common shiner, the gizzard shad, the threadfin shad, and the bluegill patterns. Those 4 patterns, I try to keep it pretty simple. Like I said, there's another 4 or 5 patterns out there that we make, but those are the 4 that I use strictly for bass fishing, to target smallmouth, largemouth, and spotted bass. These baits will catch everything. I promise you, they'll catch hybrids.
They kind of started out as like a walleye type.
They did.
They're
yeah.
very popular.
And perch.
walleye.
They catch a
Yeah,
ton of perch. This is what'd you do?
Jeff's arm's hurting.
Oh,
Switch.
camera switch. Jeff's arm's hurting.
So next week his right arm's going to be all swole and his left arm's going
Where's
to be...
Bruce when you need him?
Yeah.
I got a what's in the box stand. He just didn't come.
Yep. All right. So
We get Bruce playing some intro music on the drums behind us.
when I'm doing this, you keep me posted. And you did good a minute ago on
Yeah,
on
I'll
questions.
shout out the questions to you. You spill the beans on the bait. I got the questions.
Yeah. All right. So there you go.
I got a question.
Adam Foster said he had a blast fishing these things on some deep points in Oklahoma. All right, Brian, what's your question?
Which hook do you put the night crawler on? That's my question.
That's funny because they
I know
don't
the
if
walleye
they
guys
on
do
the-
that.
Do they do that on the ice jigs?
I have no idea.
Okay, all right. I don't. I think they put that on like inline spinners and things like that. But
I see all the walleye fishermen with the bait similar to that, and they got a night crawler on it. So
yeah,
I don't know.
David Prince, I don't hold this thing still very often. Like the Demiki style fishing. He was asking if it swims in a circle when you hold it still.
If it's got like just a motion,
right? It's got a motion. I have actually not really. This is something I've only played with for about 18 months, honestly. And
that camera, matey.
I'm sorry. Well, I didn't know. You said your arm got tired.
See my finger down here?
Yeah,
My finger's down here pointing
You
up.
see this finger? No, I'm just kidding. All right. So I have not played with that, David, but it's something that I definitely need to test out.
I bet it does have action when it's set.
I'm
still.
sure it's got some.
I bet it does.
99.9% of the bites that I have, which haven't been a ton, have been as soon as I snap this thing up and it begins to glide whichever way it decides to go on that actual fall is when I get the bite. And you'll go to snap it back up and the fish will be there. It's kind of like hopping a spoon. So same type deal. But there again, it's kind of I hate to call it a desperation technique, but it's not something.
It'll get you bites.
Absolutely.
That's the thing. And I think that's the most important thing in fishing is people, they look at techniques and they kind of get this like bad attitude about certain things. Like, oh, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to throw this right here. Like I hear that all the time with like jig fishermen. They're diehard jig fishermen and they catch them 3 or 4 months out of the year, but the rest of the time they don't catch nothing because they're hard-headed.
Yeah.
Don't be too hard-headed.
He said, Dustin and Ryan said, put her in the tank and drop her in. But number one, I don't have any line right now. Number two, I don't want to put a hook in Mr.
Yeah, we
Wilson's
don't want to hurt
mouth.
Mr. Wilson.
Because I have a feeling he would probably bite
He would
those pretty
definitely
quick. But any questions, I'm going to be watching the feed while Brian dives into his box. And
Can't wait.
You want me to hold the camera and talk about the box? I can do that.
Probably could.
I can do
Jeff.
that. Because I've got a box full of baits. There's all different kinds of
We're
baits.
good. We're good.
So,
Yeah.
and I don't know that I really
I'm
want to hold them all
two-handed.
up.
I'm two-handed.
Because I've got way more baits in here. And if I pick one up, there's going to be like 10 come up with it.
You could pick up one or two.
It's going to be a mess.
I'm going to be watching the feed for ice jigs are big on Table Rock. Joey Randall said, yeah, White River Chain. I could see them being a big deal. Oh, they asked me how did this technique compare to the blade baits in cold water Little Georges and things like that.
It's kind of two separate presentations, isn't it?
It's completely different
Yeah.
to me. Yeah, completely different. The blade bait is a lot more consistent when it falls.
Plus, it's more of a horizontal retrieve. I mean,
Right.
when I fish a
Casting a
blade
lot.
bait, I'm casting it out and kind of feathering it along the bottom versus a straight vertical retrieve.
Exactly. I saw one more quick. Oh, Jason Curtis. Yes, these are made by Lunker Hunt. It's called the Lunker Hunt Straight Up. So you can find them. I believe they're available on Tackle Warehouse, if I'm not mistaken. So a lot of different sizes. Like I said, you'll see some smaller ones out there. The 3/16. 5/8 and 7/8 is what I throw the most of. The half every once in a while, but mostly it's a 5/8 to a 7/8 size. Those are my two favorite sizes. And I'll be watching the feed. I'm going to let Brian take off with his box.
We'll go to my box. All right. Matt covered, the vertical cold water fishing. What I've brought is, I'm going to call it my finesse jerkbait box, if that makes any sense. This is kind of my smaller jerkbait box that I don't know how to explain.
Kevin Clark just asked if Jeff had hit puberty yet. I think so.
Appreciate that, Kevin.
All right, sorry.
No, that's
There
pretty
goes
good.
your Christmas card.
Ooh.
Mine or Kevin's?
Kevin's.
Okay.
All right, so what I'm calling this is a finesse jerkbait box. Everybody's kind of on this bigger jerkbait. The 110 size is very popular right now, even bigger than that. So I still find a use for a lot of smaller baits. I've thrown some like a 78 size and smaller, and that's kind of what I've got in this box. And I've got a huge array of colors and sizes and depth ranges, and we'll just take a look in it. So, Jeff, fire up your iPad here.
Yeah, Marvin, is that predominantly a cold water bait? Not necessarily. When the fish get super deep in the summertime, and this won't necessarily apply to the jerk baits as much as it will the straight up. The straight up is really effective in the dead of winter when fish are really inactive, and in the dead of summer when they get out there really deep and they're suspended and they're tough to catch. It could still trigger some reaction bites in the dead heat of the middle of the summer too.
Get down in there.
Bruce Gallup said this is the box that you're willing to show people. Hey, Brian showed us some
everything.
good stuff.
I got no secrets. All right, the first one we're going to start out with is one of my favorite little Demiki jerk baits. This is the Demiki Humminbird 75. No, this is
Humminbird.
a 55. We got two sizes. Let me see if I can dig out this.
How'd they name it the Humminbird?
Do what?
Because it's so small?
I don't know why they named it the Humminbird, but that is the Humminbird right there. Can you see that?
Yeah.
That's the 75. This is my favorite color.
Jeff's using two arms now. He's good.
Little and extremely little. I actually caught them on these in the summertime tournament at Wheeler. We had a championship at Wheeler, and fish were schooling, and I caught them on this little guy right
The
here.
little one. Yeah, they were eating little bitty bait.
Right. And what's cool about these baits is the way they dart and dive around. Like this bait, most jerk baits, when you wind it, it's kind of got a wobble like a crankbait. This bait just kind of comes straight through the water, and I think that helps it when you're not fishing it. Like, it gives it more action, if that makes sense. Like, when you pause it and jerk it, it's got a hard dive, and it kind of goes somewhere different each time. So
It's erratic.
erratic. That's the word I was looking for. But this bait gets me a lot of bites when they're feeding on small bait. I actually throw this on a spinning rod with 8-pound P-line fluorocarbon. And I throw straight fluorocarbon. That's another good point we'll talk about when I'm talking about these small jerk baits, especially throwing it on a spinning rod, because I use braid with a fluorocarbon leader on most everything with a spinning rod. But when I'm throwing a jerk bait, I throw straight fluorocarbon. And the reason for that is it allows it to get deeper because the braid's going to float. And if you've got an 8 or 10 foot fluorocarbon leader, that's about the most depth you're going to get, 7 or 8 feet. So if you throw straight fluorocarbon with a jerkbait on a spinning rod, you're going to get more depth out of it because that fluorocarbon is going to be down in the water. It's not going to be wanting to float up on top like braid. So there's your tip when throwing jerkbaits on a spinning rod.
Couple questions. What action rod do you use? Thomas, I'm assuming that is for Brian's jerkbaits and not the straight up. Just correct me if I'm wrong, but what action rod do you use? You mentioned you use a spinning rod. And how much do those baits weigh? Do you know?
I have no idea how much they weigh. It's pretty light. Weigh it for me, Matt.
Weigh it for you?
I'm going 3/8 of an ounce.
Could be a half, but
it'd
be a deceiving half.
Yeah, a very deceiving half.
It's hard to gauge a long bait like that.
Right.
But I would say 3/8 is probably a safe bet.
That's what I'm going with. And I throw it on a 610 medium heavy Fitzgerald Versa spinning rod. Throw it on a Abu Garcia reel. I think it's a Revo 30 or the 30 size reel. So that's my finesse jerkbait. And it's even got a little rattle in it. I don't know if you can hear it. Hear that?
I can hear it. So there's another question. Ryan wanted to know how deep those go.
This bait, the small one, will run about 5 to 6 feet. Mostly. Depends on how long you pause it and if you want to weight it. See, that's another cool thing about
line size has to do with that too.
Yeah, line size has a lot to do with it. If you're throwing it on 6 or 8 pound line, just on a steady retrieve, you can get it 5 or 6 feet. If you've got it weighted, which that's what I like to do with these baits, I like to put a little bigger hook than what comes on it from the factory, and that's where I get my weight. I never use suspend strips or suspend dots on a jerk bait. I always just use bigger hooks. So if I want that bait to sink faster, if I want it to set nose down, I'll put a bigger hook on the front than I do the back, and that'll make that bait set like that. So that's going to give you a little more depth and let it, putting bigger hooks on it's going to add weight. So you're essentially getting the same effect you would adding suspend strips, but you've got the benefit of having bigger hooks and getting a better hookup ratio. So there's your little tip on the hummingbird fishing.
Any other baits in there that we need to look at?
I
see a lot of Lucky Craft stuff.
Yeah, I got a lot of smaller Lucky Craft baits. Like this used to be one of my favorites back 15 years ago. Like this was the first jerkbait. The old Pointer 78 DD.
The 78 DD.
The 78 DD. I think that was the very first jerkbait I ever bought. I used to catch a ton of fish on it. And I don't throw it a lot anymore now that I have the hummingbirds and things like that and the bigger size jerkbaits. But as far as the small jerkbait go, I like the deep diving lips. You can see in this box with the hummingbird and the Lucky Crafts, they've all got I'm going to stick a hook in my finger for us over with. Get up here. They've all kind of got the bigger, like, spoonbill shapes. And I think that gives you a more erratic action also. Like a bill design like this versus just a straight square bill or a small lip lets that bait dart around a little bit more.
We were way off.
What?
Kyle Ash must have Googled it. Maybe Kyle already knew. He said the Humminbird 55 is a 1/6 ounce.
Well, there you go.
Wow, we were way off. Shows how much we know. Thanks, Kyle, for letting us know, by
Kyle.
the way. Yep.
But that's one tip for you. Everybody's on to the 110 size. Next time you're out on the lake this winter and you're having a little bit of struggles getting bit on a jerkbait, try something smaller like that Humminbird 65 or the Humminbird 55 and see if you can't get a few more bites. What we got going on? Something in the background?
No, never mind. Nothing. I was relieving Jeff. I was telling him he could go back to the main cameras now because his arms over here like shaking.
That was easy, actually.
See, that was perfect. He could, from his vantage point, he could rest his hand on it like his arm resting.
Exactly. This is just.
Like
Are you
that.
bringing? Steven asked if you're bringing the turtleneck look back tonight.
Am I? Oh, I do. I am sporting the Ranger turtleneck.
Well, it's like a crew neck. That's like a 50%
I don't know what it is,
turtleneck.
but it's warm.
It might be addictive.
And it's
What do you
cold.
think, Jeff?
It's warm.
It's about 3/4 turtle, if you ask me.
You know what a dickie is, right? You know,
I have no idea what that is.
You know what a dickie is? That's like the that's. You ever seen National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation?
I have.
All right, you can see his dickie through his Christmas sweater. Uncle, what's
I know Randy Quaid.
Thank you, Randy Quaid. What's his name in the Lampoon Vacation movies?
Cousin Eddie.
Cousin Eddie.
Cousin Eddie, not Uncle.
At the Christmas get together at his house. I know I'm chasing rabbits, but this is just the funny
that's
part
fine.
of the movie.
That's what we do
And
on
he's
this
drinking
show.
eggnog, and he's got the Christmas.
Is this what he's pumping out the?
You can see the outline of his dick. He's got a turtleneck, and it's a fake turtleneck. It's just a little square right here. It's just got a turtleneck on top. People used to wear those.
Idea what that
People
is.
used to wear those underneath like sweaters and things like
Really?
that. It's not a full
I didn't know
shirt.
that was a
though.
deal.
Yeah.
I'll go grab one. Hang on.
So,
Yeah, see, Jeff's got one.
so it's
Perfect.
called a dickie. Yeah, Uncle Eddie, Cousin Eddie,
Cousin
Yep,
Eddie.
Sorry.
Matt's hung up on uncles.
We got it. Cousin Eddie. Cousin Eddie. Thank you, Steve. Thanks, Ryan. Yep, keep it straight here. Rodney Degree said Brian looks more like a sweater vest guy.
That's true.
Sweater vest. I think
Turtle power. Hank's on. What's up, Hank? Hank said turtle power. All right, so questions about anything. And Brian, shoot us our questions, guys. That's all we're going to do the rest of the show.
yeah. If y'all want to talk about something, hit us with it. It's open mic night. Y'all have got the mic. Even if you got a question for Jeff.
I don't have any answers. Y'all go ahead.
Morgan Summers had a question about Pennzoil. We love questions about Pennzoil. He said, knowing about us being oil experts, I wouldn't call us oil experts. I wouldn't go that far. But he's got a Mercury Pro XS 175 DFI. I don't want to run a new oil. Do I need to drain the whole system of the oil that's in there, or can I add the new on top of it? If you're completely switching oils, Morgan, I would personally drain the system.
I would too.
I would run it down as low as you could get it, and then I would start running. I would add that new oil and
Right.
start running it. I don't like mixing oils.
I don't either.
Anytime you're mixing oils, it can't be a good thing because
No,
different oils.
I mean
have,
you got different viscosities and things like
that's
that.
right.
I mean,
Different additives.
I'd let it. I'd try to run it as low as possible. Run it till the buzzer goes off, and then put the oil in it.
Yep, that's right. All right, so
But don't run it till it overheats. If it does that, you've ran it too far.
yeah, and keep oil in it because a buddy of ours likes to run his out of oil and continue running it out of oil, and then
Who
he
did that?
wonders why the alarms go off. I'm not gonna say any names because
Oh, I bet I know who this is.
He
Does
probably
he have
already
one of
knows.
your old boats?
Yes, he does.
Okay,
there
I
you
know
go.
exactly who
All
it
right, no, he's only done that once, but he couldn't figure out what was wrong with it. The alarm
I
kept
remember
going
that.
off, and then
Didn't he get towed in because of it?
He did.
He
As a matter
did.
of fact, he did.
Yes.
Yep.
Hey, I got one that beats that. I have a buddy that was at a tournament at Eufaula, and this was back when the Rangers had 2 gas tanks and you had to switch tanks. Mm-hmm. He thought he blew his motor and had somebody tow him in during the event. And he got to the service trailer, and the service guy walks back there and switches the tank and fires right up and keeps on. It's
He's
good.
not the only person that ever did that, by the way. I didn't do it, but he's not the only one that ever did that. All right, Brian is cousin Eddie. David
I'll
Williams
go
is
with
on.
that.
David, what's up? Brian said. David said all I'm throwing now is 150 grain soft points. Oh yeah, Brian did have a good point about line size too, and that's something on the straight ups too, guys. When you're fishing these jigs vertically, the line size. I know I talked about using a little bit bigger line when I'm fishing around timber and things like that, and that's fine. But you do give up some action and some sink rate and stuff. Same with the jerk baits.
Right.
You do give up some things when you go to a heavier line. So I like.
You get the text.
I got the text. All right, we'll keep that off
Hey,
there.
we didn't call no names.
So he is watching the show.
He is.
Yeah. You should have just seen the text we got, Jeff. We just got a text from our buddy we were talking about, and there was some foul language in it.
I didn't do it. I didn't do it, Bruce.
It's not Bruce.
Oh.
It's not Bruce.
Here's a good question from Dustin Overton. While we're all cleaning the boats out and getting ready for the next season, what's one absolute must-have in the boat outside of fishing gear and state-mandated items? So other than fishing gear and the required life jackets, throw cushion, ropes, and things, what's one piece of equipment that you always keep in your boat?
My ratchet set.
Tool set. That's good.
My ratchet set. Yep, I got a full ratchet set, metric and American. What do they call the regular
Standard.
sets?
It's standard, Matt.
Standard. Thank you. All right. My ratchet box. Yep, that's a big deal.
That is good.
What about
'cause
you?
Mine, I bought this last year when we were at Lanier because I had this face
Toilet
mask.
paper.
That's an essential as well.
Oh.
But that's not what I was
That's not
doing.
it. Okay.
So I've tried a couple different face masks on, and maybe y'all can help me with one that actually works and doesn't fog up. So I got this face mask, and it rained on us like pretty much every day this year in every tournament. So
yeah, it's true. And
my
it was
face
cold.
mask keeps fogging up, and I'm getting mad. So I get this idea, and I go to Walmart, and I buy these like goggles you would wear in school in science class, with a little rubber strap, and they're like the whole goggles that just cover your eyes like this. Dude, that's the best thing I've ever had for driving in the rain. So,
but not for cold weather though, because it's just goggles around your eyes, right?
I wear it cold weather, everything.
I gotta have something over my face.
I'm telling you. Well, I got a hoodie on my coat. I cinch it down like I look like Kenny off Cartman. All you got sits right here. Or Kenny off South Park. There you go.
Ernie Wallace said, Matt, who are you rooming with on the road this year? I guess since he's now announced it, I can come out with it. I didn't want to ruin his announcement. But Scott Canterbury. I will be rooming with Scott Canterbury, who is also my teammate with the Quaker State and Pennzoil Marine brand. So we'll be running together next year on the Elite Series. Let's see. Brian Key said, thrift turtleneck with a flannel line cargo shorts. I like it.
I can do it.
I like it.
Flannel line cargo shorts actually sound pretty good.
Sound pretty good, doesn't it?
All right.
They make flannel line cargo pants.
William Cummings, he said, viscosity, Brian. He said, I'm proud of you. That is a big word for Brian.
Big words.
It is a big word for Brian. All right. How do you set up, let's see, how do you set up your Lowrance depth finder to help find fish? Because I don't know if my setup is right. What do you set your sensitivity on, Brian? You want to address that? And a lot of the factory settings are pretty dead on.
I use pretty much all the factory settings. The only thing I do to my Lowrance is I change my color palette. I turned it to color palette 13, and I think my sensitivity, I don't know what it is. It says A+1. Does that sound right?
Yeah, and I'll go to I'll never go to as low as like -2 to 3 or +2 to 3.
Yeah.
I'll keep it in that range.
Right.
And that should pretty much cover
Like, there's a fine line. If you'll notice, if you've got your boat in the water and you're playing with the sensitivity, there's a fine line where you get too much sensitivity and you start seeing a bunch of junk in the water, and then not having enough sensitivity where you don't see anything. You kind of want to go all the way to both extremes and then kind of find a happy medium between the two, between not seeing anything and seeing too much interference.
Right. In your opinion, what are the best, this is from Andrew Alexander, the best conditions weather-wise for late fall, early winter fishing? And I'll give you my opinion. I think the fouler weather, the better.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, as much as people may not want to hear that.
Right. I mean, a little bit of wind. I don't like crazy wind, but if I've got a...
Not like 40.
Yeah, but like a...
10 to 15.
Yeah, or 5 to 10 mile an hour wind and cloudy, maybe a little bit of sleet and rain. That's good fishing in the winter, especially in our area. That's when, like, if you go to Lake Norman in the wintertime and you've got a half snowy, sleety day or cloudy and a little bit of wind, you better have some weight or you ain't getting paid.
Absolutely. What water temp, this is from Mike Harris, what water temp does topwater go away in the fall? Like deep, clear lake like Chattooge?
I'm going to say...
You got spotted bass in there, too.
Yeah,
so
it probably starts going away when it gets below 60, but that's not saying you won't get bit in the mid-50s. Like, if you threw it all day, you'll get a couple bites, but I think there's other patterns that'll be more dominant.
David Williams, you see his comment?
No, I did not.
He called out our buddy.
Where's it at?
Hank said dude wipes. That's kind of like toilet paper,
yeah,
somewhat, but yeah, that's a must.
Where's Williams' comment?
He said, "Way to go, John Davis. Put some oil in it." I like it. I like it. I see a lot of toilet paper response. Dude wipes and toilet paper. Dude wipes and or toilet paper or both. Flashlight. That's a good point. Jimmy Wilson.
Flashlights are good.
Yeah,
that's always a good idea to have.
Michael Kate said, Matt, thanks for the HydroWave advice a couple weeks ago, starting to learn how and when to use it for the most part. That's awesome, Michael, because that thing I'm sure Brian has too, hundreds of people ask me, does that thing really work? I get that all the time, but absolutely it does, but it is very conditional and situational. I don't think it's something you should just turn on and run all the time when you're fishing anywhere you're fishing.
Right.
But pick and choose.
It's definitely something you can play with and figure out when it works. I'm still learning with it. Like, I'm still find myself in situations where I'll play with it and see where it makes the most difference and the most impact.
Yep. Brian Key said, Matt, trolling motor nut and key. Oh, he's saying that because I lost my prop fell off at practice at the Cup.
You did.
I have that in my boat now. Well, I don't. I don't have my new boat
Actually,
yet.
I already have that. I carry a spare trolling motor prop and 2 spare nuts.
I had the prop and I had the nut. I didn't have the pin.
Oh, you didn't have I got the pin too.
That's right. I didn't have the pin, so I had everything else.
But you know what you can do if you got a pair, which I carry a big pair of snips in my boat. You can take like a hook, a big heavy wire hook, and make yourself a pin if you got some snips.
Here's a good tip from Matt Stanley. He said, go to a ski shop, like a snow ski shop.
Yeah.
So get you some cat crap. That's what it's called, apparently. He said it's like wax. It'll keep your lens from fogging up.
Oh, that's a good idea.
You rub not real cat crap. You
Yeah.
know, like, okay.
Yeah.
Like don't
no hair in it.
Yeah, don't go
like
digging
that.
in a litter box or something somewhere.
Gotcha.
There you go. No hair in it. Yeah, that's right. Motorcycle helmet. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different looking like a minion. Let's see.
Yeah, that's very similar to what the goggles look like.
Josh Waldron want to know what we do when we're not fishing.
I tell you, the day I bought the goggles and wore them, I was beside Bradley Holman. He was leading the tournament, and he seen me wearing them, and he was impressed. He said he was going to get him a set as well because it works good.
That'll
$3 goggles.
I'm gonna have to look into that because when it's warmer, I've got one of those face shields that I use, and I put some of that anti-fog stuff. I can't remember what the name of it is, but it worked and it keeps it from fogging up because that is the biggest issue.
Yeah,
there's a lot of good things out there, but I mean, if
like
it fogs
it works
up, it's
great
no
as
good.
far as keeping the rain from slapping you in the face and hurting, but you can't see, so it's no good.
What's up,
no
Bo?
good.
God, him and Strayhorn are watching live from Pike County, Illinois. I can't say I'm not jealous. I'd be lying if I said I'm not jealous. Bo's tagged out. I don't know why Bo should be on his way. Oh no, his buddy's with him, not tagged out yet. Strayhorn, you need to fire Bo and have me Thrift and I up there. We could we could skip it. We could hunt a day, fish a day, hunt a day, fish a day. You and Thrift and I could hop in the boat. And we could leave Bo here in North Carolina. He's shot one. He shot a couple up there, and he shoots them in the face anyway. So
in the face?
Yeah, he shot one in the face with a bow.
Hey, there ain't nothing wrong with that.
Killed it. He killed it. It's
I'd
on his
say-
wall.
I'd say so.
Yeah. All right, so let's see. Oh, man, we got an offer on a place to stay. Bruce Gallup said, Matt, talk to Jeff. Y'all come stay at Plantation for Georgetown when we go to Winyah Bay. What's a plantation? That sounds nice.
That's where you were invited to go hunting last weekend.
And you wouldn't go?
What? I wouldn't go. Okay, here we go.
I tried to go, and he said he didn't want to.
I didn't get invited. I would have went.
Just so you know.
I couldn't go.
Just so you
even get
know.
it.
Y'all welcome to go without me.
Okay.
I didn't get invited. I don't know.
Hey, Brian likes to sling a bullet now. He does.
I got I got a plan for you.
Yeah. Ricky Bridger
What we
said,
got going on? All right.
what, I'm not including this plan?
I wasn't included in the last plan.
You can come if you want.
Okay. All right. Ricky Bridger said, what rain gear do you guys use? I use Sims gear. Sims makes some really good stuff. I think Brian's a Stormer guy.
Yeah, I wear Storm R. I like it for a lot.
They, dang, Johnny McCombs told me I need to go on a diet. Do I look fat? White,
No
white always
comment.
makes people look fat.
No
or is it
comment.
black? Does black make you look bigger?
Do I
or
look
white
fatter
make you
than
look
Matt?
bigger?
Give us a profile shot, Mike.
Yeah, yep. No profile. They got a profile shot all night. I'm sideways with the camera. Bruce said you were too lazy to drive, Jeff. Is that true? Is that why we didn't go deer hunting?
What's that?
You were too lazy to drive?
Yeah.
David Scruggs asked if I'm going to run an Ultrex on my new boat. I'm not. Going back with the Fortrex.
Are you really? You're still not gonna run an Ultrex? I didn't know that.
I like the Fortrex.
If it ain't broke, don't fix
The
it.
Fortrex does good.
Let's see. Oh, Bo Adams said, Strayhorn said, I'm fired. Y'all come on. I like it. We might be going to Illinois next year, Brian.
Hey, what's in Illinois?
Let's some really big whitetails.
Can I shoot them with a rifle?
Well, no, their gun season I think is shotgun only. I don't know. I don't know how their gun season works over there. All right. What is preferred methods for attacking water temperatures in the lower 50s in the fall winter? Chase Sansom asked that question. So, what's your preferred methods?
I'm going to start with A-rig.
Low
If
50s, so
legal-
it's starting to get colder.
Yeah, if A-rig's legal in the tournament I'm practicing for, like the Costa, for example, I'm going to start with A-rig. I mean, that's a great search bait, and plus it'll get bit. So that's usually where I start and try to go from there with it. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, low 50s. A lot of different things. I'm thinking. You said A-rig. I'm gonna say crankbait. I mean, it's a good search bait, and once it starts
Especially
diving down,
if you got a little color in the water.
That's right. Well, even in places like Norman and things like that. I mean, I've caught a lot of fish. As long as you get a little bit of wind or something to break the surface, I've caught a lot of fish in clear water cranking too. And that's something that people don't pay a lot of attention to. They think that crystal clear water where you see 5, 6, 7 feet deep. They don't throw a crankbait in.
Right. But that's when those nasty days. That's
absolutely
when you can get that reaction bite.
So, like Brian said, same type deal with the A-rig. I'm taking either a square bill or a little, like a Bandit 200, something that runs 6 to 8 foot deep, covering some water, wiggle wart, things like that, until I get a few bites and I get keyed into what they're on, what they're what type of structure they're on, and how I can locate them the quickest. And that crankbait bite will get even better, as that water continues to cool off. Caught them really good cranking around here in 44, 45, 46 degree water.
That is a fact.
Let's see. David said I'm getting a bunch of gray in my beard.
They're cranking on you hard tonight.
Man, I don't care. I'm used to getting picked on.
I missed it. What did they say?
They just talked about me having white. It's not even gray. It's like it went straight to silver, like white.
Is that my future? Is that what 2 kids will do for you?
Yeah, that's about the truth.
God.
Yeah, that's about the
well,
truth.
Jeff's the same. So I guess this time next year, it's not going to be looking good for me.
Y'all are a lot younger than me.
Yeah. Justin Bean had a good question. He said, at what point or when are you switching to red crankbaits in the winter? And honestly, Justin, I have fished them. I just bounce back and forth, but I've fished them all year. And one thing about cranking clear water is, especially when you're targeting spotted bass or even smallmouth, is they like bright colors. Even in the fall, when I know we typically talk about using shad-type patterns and things like that in the fall. And that's typically the norm, but I have caught a lot of fish on some really bright orange and red crankbaits in the wintertime and even in the fall. But what about you? You got anything to add to that, Brian?
No, I think, like, in the fall, when those fish are in that range to bite a crankbait, I feel like they're probably going to bite the first thing that comes through there. I don't think color really makes that big of a difference. They're up there. They're in a feeding mood. I mean, I've caught fish on red crankbaits that were schooling on shad. So I don't think that.
Well, and I was going, and you just contradicted what I was getting ready to say. But it's good that you said that, because it goes back to always having an open mind and things like that. Because I was going to say, use common sense, and if you're cranking a red clay bank with scattered chunk rock and the fish are in 4 to 6 feet of water, they're likely up there digging around on crawdads and things like that. So you want to use something that's more crawfish colored style baits. But Brian just talked about catching fish that he knew were actively feeding on shad, and he was still catching them on a red bait.
Yeah, like I knew they were because I was seeing them bust. And I just happened to have a red crankbait in my hand at the time, and I threw it over there and caught one. So I kept
those
it
were
in my
just
hand.
hungry bass.
And I continued to catch them for about an hour straight.
Yeah,
so that was pretty good.
Let's see. All right, I see a bunch of questions here, guys. I'm trying to get to all of them. Have either of you had a spot cut your line with its teeth on the hook set? That's from Catcher Lures. I can't prove that's what it was, but I feel like I absolutely have. And the fish, the spotted bass in these blueback herring lakes,
They got really sharp teeth.
they have really sharp
They do
teeth.
have really
and somebody
sharp
told me
teeth.
that was from them feeding on herring. I don't know what it's from.
I don't either.
But I mean, literally, where were we this past? Oh, Lanier.
Yeah.
Lanier. We were at Lanier this past year, and dude, I'm telling you, my thumbs have never been as bloody. And it's not like I caught like 50 a day.
Yeah, just
caught like 15 a day.
Right.
And their teeth are so sharp. I mean, my thumbs were literally bleeding after that tournament. And I guarantee you, using that light fluorocarbon on some of those fish, if you bust it off on the hook set.
Especially if you caught 2 or 3 and didn't check your line.
Right.
I bet that definitely could happen.
Yeah, for sure. So I would have to say absolutely. Whether I can prove it or not is yet to be determined, but I would say I'm assuming it's definitely happened. Let's see. Justin said a red DT6 in January, February is death here.
Ooh.
Where are you, Justin? We didn't know where Justin is.
I don't either.
So because
That's good.
we didn't know where to throw a red DT6.
I think a red colored crankbait's pretty good everywhere. January, February. If it's not froze over.
Brian Key's asking about our Let's Talk Hunt show potentially.
Yeah,
You never know.
That's
we're not doing that.
yeah.
When did we say that was going to be Thursday nights?
Morgan Summers
Thursday
said,
nights.
"Yeah, y'all said Thursday night." Morgan Summers said, drop shot or vertical jigging during the winter. I don't know if Morgan saw the earlier part of the show, but be sure to rewind and watch the beginning of this show, Morgan, because we talked about another technique that when that drop shot, and I don't catch quite as many on a drop shot in the dead of winter.
I don't either.
As I do a spoon or something like the straight up, and things like that. So the drop shot to me shines really well May, June, July, August, September, October. I have caught a few fish on it.
Anytime a smallmouth is involved.
Anytime a smallmouth is involved, absolutely.
Right.
And I do use it bed fishing every once in a while too.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, so Jonathan Carter, I'm very excited for Lake Hartwell. And he said, Matt, are you excited for Hartwell? And Brian, are you mad you don't get to go to Hartwell?
I'm not really that mad. I got a love-hate relationship with Hartwell.
You've done well at Hartwell.
I've done well there, and I've done very bad there.
There's
no middle ground for me at Hartwell. I'm like 100th or worse.
You did
or
bad?
I'm top 10.
In a tournament one time?
Yeah, like 2 times. I didn't even get close to a check there. Like I finished 100 and something there one time.
Really?
Yeah.
Let's see. There you go. Justin Jones said the biggest fish he's caught on a frog had a black and red crawfish in its mouth.
There you
in
go.
The summertime on Lake Okeechobee. Carson Rainey said muddy water, high 50s. What are you throwing? Crankbait, spinnerbait, chatterbait. Pretty much covers it.
Yeah, one of them 3 or all
might
of
catch them on a jig if you're really dialed into where they're at. You
Yeah.
might could slow down and catch a few fish.
Yeah,
on a
like
jig.
especially like if you're going down a bank and there's one lay down, I'd definitely throw a spinnerbait and a crankbait in it and chatterbait, and then probably flip a jig in it too.
I have to address.
I probably do it all.
I have to address Allison Tolbert Thrift's comment, which
That's
is your
why
wife.
I'm laughing.
She said, if y'all start another show on Thursdays, Emily, which is my wife, and I'm sure Leslie would be involved in that too.
I'm sure there's
Jeff
quite a
Weatherhalf,
few women that would be
are starting a
interested in
Let's
that.
Talk Wine show on Fridays. I might want to go to the Let's Talk Wine show on Friday.
We'll do it. It's Friday nights at Dragonfly.
Friday nights at Dragonfly. There you go. All right. So, water temp dropping big time in the Midwest, Sean Proctor said. Let's see. David Williams is funny. David's got jokes. Wants to know.
It's physically impossible for him to make a comment on the show that's not a joke.
And it not
Who's
be
that?
a joke.
David.
He
It
did
is.
say, I'll tell my secret, David. He said, what kind of lotion do you use to keep your hands so soft? It's the working hands. Y'all know the green can called the working hands?
Yeah.
That's it. It's a man's hand lotion if there's such a thing. Don't laugh, Brian.
It's a Jedi mind
Leave me
trick.
alone.
That's what you call the Jedi mind trick.
All right. Hey, good question from Jonathan Carter. What time we got, Brian? We got 7:53. We got about 7
7:53.
minutes.
We got a few minutes left.
Got a good trivia question coming up tonight. Again, for the FLW competitor membership package. Guys, also don't forget we do have our hats for sale. We do have a new inventory. We got
Yes.
5 different colors. Let's talk. Do it, Jeff. Oh, yeah, there it is.
Did you get it,
Jeff's
Jeff?
got a new
Did you
little
make it
pop-up.
work?
Do it again.
It's still on there.
Let'sTalkFish.com. Jeff's got a new. He's been playing around with some new little gadgets. With
He's
his,
been waiting the whole show for
He
this.
has.
For you to set
caught
him
me
up.
He
off
wanted
guard.
me to
One move.
announce
Caught me
that
off guard.
we have hats available, and we have a full inventory of hats that we can that are ready to ship, signed if you want them, guys. Just be sure to drop us a note. I don't get pedicures on Thursday, David. Thanks for asking.
Jeff's holding his hand out like he was wanting you to do something.
What do you need me
If
to
we're
do?
throwing
Jeff?
things up, also, don't forget to go give us a follow at our new Instagram page, Let's Talk Fish
Oh, he wanted to
Official.
throw that pop up too. Yep, Let's Talk Fish Official.
Good job, Jeff.
Everybody that was on our Instagram page, and it kind of sucked because we were up to 5,000 or 6,000 followers, and we hadn't, we don't really post much on Instagram. We need to post more on Instagram, but our page got hijacked.
I didn't even know that was possible.
It got stolen. Yeah, that happens all the time, unfortunately. And then they sell those pages, which I didn't know what that actually happens. But so we have a new Instagram page, Let's Talk Fish Official. Oh, I just saw it pop up. Very cool, Jeff.
I like that.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I like that. So be sure to follow us on Instagram, guys. We'll be doing some cool stuff on there coming up.
Rodney DeGree asked how the new baby is doing. He's doing good. Little Cooper, he's getting big. He's drooling a lot. It's good time. It's amazing how much he drools. It really is.
Is he teething? He's not teething yet.
I don't know. He's drooling a lot.
He might be cutting a tooth. You never know.
We keep looking. We hadn't seen any, but I don't know.
Let's see. Deep cranks work in winter? Question mark from Nick Williams. You want to hit that, Brian?
I'm sure they do. I don't do it in the winter. Like I usually limit my crankbaits to 10 or 12 foot range. Usually I'm somewhere between the 2 to 6 foot range, but 10 or 12 is about the most I go in the wintertime. And I'm sure it works. I just hadn't tried it. So
I got a problem, Jeff.
what you got?
Matt Moran said Jeff done one earlier, had something special pop up at Brian's AOY, but noticed there was no special pop up for Matt.
Actually, it was a special pop up for Matt. It was really fast though, because it's not as cool as Angler of the Year. But it said 2014 and 15 FLW Tour Beaver Lake Champion.
Oh, you threw it back up there just to make me feel good, didn't you? Oh, you sweet. Aren't you sweet? All right. Let's see. Emily said she loves those hands. Talking about my hands. See my nice soft hands.
There you go.
What weight jig heads do y'all throw on the A-rig? This is from Teddy Holt. What's up, Teddy? Buddy of mine in Arkansas. He said, and do you use all the same size? So Brian talked about it a little bit on the last show.
Yeah. Depends on the depth.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you're restricted to three hooks, that's when we'll adjust sizes.
Right.
Based on the fact that you want those 3 baits that have hooks on them to run on the bottom.
Yeah. Always have your middle bait with a hook and the 2 baits on the bottom with a hook. But if state regulations or tournament rules allow you to throw 5 hooks on the A-rig, I'll use all the same weights on all of them. Just so I don't know. I don't know why. It's just what I've always done, really. I don't have an explanation for that.
Brian Hunt had a good question. He said, these guys are picking on me and my lotion. It's called working hands. I mean, can you get more manlier than that?
You got shea butter.
Yeah. Wayman said he's
False
going to send me some shea
advertising.
butter. Mount Shea shea butter. Huh. All right.
There you go.
Hey, I'm willing to try anything once. I mean, I'm just saying,
There you go.
Hank said Jergens earlier. That's not funny, Hank, at all. We need sock hats. Hey, that would be cool. We do need to get some beanies, some Let's Talk Fish beanies. We need to get some.
Brian Key, Jeff Hop, how many deer Matt's killed? All right, you ready? I just popped it up.
Nah, he's killed a couple.
I've killed a couple.
I know. I'm just kidding.
What?
I'm kidding.
Lord have mercy. I have not killed a buck yet this year. I've had a rough deer season. All right, we'll stop talking about it.
Kind of what I was
You don't want to talk
talking
about almost throwing your bow down out of a stand.
I've almost chunked my cell phone, my bow. I almost quit hunting. I almost put everything up to pawn it. I've had a rough year. I've had encounters. I've had 3 bucks. I've had 4 or 5 different bucks that I wanted to shoot this year, and I've had 3 bucks, 1 5-year-old and 2 4-year-olds that I've all had inside 40 yards, and I have yet to kill one of them. For more reasons than one, I don't care to get into it now because I just start getting mad. All right. Let's see. Favorite glide baits from Jonathan Carter. All right, I missed something.
They're cracking on you and the lotion pretty
This
hard,
there
man.
as well, Trent. Wow. Wow. All right, guys, let's keep it clean.
Yeah,
let's try to
let's
keep it clean.
Let's ease off Matt. Matt's had a rough
we don't
night.
wanna
He's
have to
had a
block
rough
it.
week deer hunting.
We don't want to have to block anybody. Favorite glide baits. That's a good
Hey,
question.
me and Matt actually talked about this earlier
Matt and
today.
I.
No, me and Matt.
Okay, go ahead.
Ain't that right?
No.
All right, so we were talking about that because I thought about bringing a big swim bait box for the what's in the box, and we were thinking that would be better to do when we could kind of devote a whole show to our favorite big swim baits.
Yeah, because Brian said I said let's do something that pertains to the kind of the season and things like that, and he had a good idea with the finesse jerk baits, and then I had the straight ups, and so next week or maybe the week after, in the coming weeks, we're going to do another what's in the box, and Brian's going to bring his box of big swim baits.
Big to Brian.
Well, big to anybody in North Carolina.
Yeah,
the guys in
probably.
California might laugh at us, but
Right.
We have to actually throw stuff that they'll actually bite and not just swirl
And
on.
the thing about big swim baits is it's very rare to be a player in a tournament situation, but you still got to have them for that. We'll take Carl's day one at Gunnersville a couple weeks ago. Smashed them on the first day, nasty rainy day. They were biting it. Next day he goes out. I don't know what he does if he's still throwing the big swim bait, but he only weighs in 2 fish. So that's it's a double-edged sword throwing the bigger swim baits. But when I go fun fishing, like if I'm going out here around the house just for fun, I always take them with me and play around with them just because it's fun to throw. You kind of feel a sense of accomplishment even if you catch like a 2-pounder on a 9-inch bait is still pretty fun.
Yep. Nate Nay asked if I'm going to be working the Classic. I will be at the Bassmaster Classic. I will be down there working. I'm assuming Brian will too.
Yes.
So we'll both be doing that. We talked about actually doing a Let's Talk Fish booth, but hey, now that I'm fishing the elites, maybe we can get like a discount or something.
Ooh, get us a discount.
You
man.
actually
Line
do
it
get a
up.
discount now that you're elite angler.
I'll have to inquire about
Perfect.
that. So maybe Let's Talk Fish. We'll have our own booth down there.
What do y'all think about a booth at the Classic? What are y'all's thoughts?
Hey, we can set up a GoFundMe. Everybody else does it.
Who's
It's
got to
not.
go
It's
fun?
only like
I'm joking.
$1,000.
I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm joking.
Oh, gosh.
Just a joke.
Go fund Matt's booth.
GoFund Let's Talk Fish's booth. I mean, I've seen GoFundMe accounts for guys wanting to fish the tour and stuff. I mean,
That's true.
I mean,
I've
I'm just
heard of
saying.
this.
Mine was a joke, though. Nobody take that seriously, please. It was a joke. All right. Let's see. All right, we got time for one or two more questions. TJ said the biggest swim bait he's ever bought is the Fetch. That's only a 4.5-inch bait,
Yeah,
TJ. So that's actually for
That's
this
snack
area.
size. That's a good size.
Yeah,
That's
it's
a
a
good
good
tournament
size.
swim bait.
But
That's something we'll talk about. Let's just do this next week with the swim baits.
okay, all right.
We'll just talk about swim baits next week because I think you've got your big swim baits and then you've got tournament size swim baits that are actually
I agree. And
easily applied during a tournament situation.
And you know, I know you talked about very rarely does a big glide bait or something like that play in a tournament, but lately, especially this year, I have seen it play in a lot. Y'all got me going, man. I get to talk. I'm trying to be serious here, and then y'all start giggling and stuff like that. Anyway, all right. Now I'm seeing it.
That's ridiculous.
This year, the glide bait has played actually a lot of individual days, like 1 out of the 3 days or 1 out of the 4 days where big bags have been
Right.
brought in, and it's the reason somebody ended up making a top 10 or a top 5 or something.
I agree.
Now they didn't duplicate that day after day because it was it was conditional, and weather changes and the fish change every day. But all right, so one more question. My Canterbury's on. So he said, let's talk some more about ice jigs. He said, mine are black and blue. We don't have any black and blue, probably dirty jigs. Scott's a dirty jigs man. And but I know I know what he's talking about. He's not gonna throw this little
he's
stuff.
in Alabama. Yeah, he's throwing.
That's right. That's right. He's throwing a black and blue 1/2 ounce 5/0 hook skirted jig 12 months out of the year down in Alabama.
Exactly.
All right. These boys ain't they're not backing down, are they?
Not at all.
You're
Being
stuck.
hard tonight.
You're stuck with this. I think it's gonna. You're stuck with it.
Well, at least we might have a new sponsor out of it.
Ooh, maybe you should make some calls.
do
We'll have a big old jar of working man's hands.
All right. Let's see. One more question, and then what time? You said it's 8 o'clock?
It's 8:03.
All right, it's 8:03.
One more question. We got to
All right, Brian.
do our question.
You pick. Hey, David Hendricks got a good point. David, thanks for the note there. He dropped a note. He said, "I think
Ooh,
you should
that
have
would
Tater
be
Hog
good.
bring some swim baits." Actually, of all the
good
swim
idea.
bait people around here, he'd be a good one to have.
Yeah, that would.
I don't think Matt's watching tonight, but if Matt is watching, I'll go ahead
Yeah.
and throw out an invite to try to get him on the show next week.
I'll call him.
See if he'll bring the swim baits because he's got quite a
He's
collection.
got a lot.
Absolutely. We could. I'm afraid we could end up talking for 2 or 3 hours about that.
Yes.
But we will. We'll try to do a big swim bait show.
The only
next week.
trouble is we don't start our show now till after dark, and he fishes at night a lot.
Well, he can skip one night.
I don't know if he can.
If he can sell a few of them $150 swim baits, he might.
I still don't think he would.
Okay. All right. So
I need to go to the store, David's store, Great Outdoors, and get this one swim bait Tater made just for the show purposes, and then I'll return it back to the case.
we got to wrap this show up because it's getting bad on here.
Brad
Yeah.
Stout had a good idea.
What Brad say?
So maybe we can get a Pennzoil Marine and Let's Talk Fish booth together.
Hey, that's a
That
great
is a
idea,
great
Brad.
idea.
Absolutely. We could do a Pennzoil Marine Let's Talk Fish. We could do a live
Collaboration.
show. Yeah, we could do a collaboration there. We could have our hats and shirts and stuff on display. Brian and I can spend as much time as we can in the booth. We could have some special guests drop in. Obviously, anybody is at the Classic, so we could
We'll
have
have a
everybody.
lot of special guests lined up because everybody's so busy working different booths.
Right.
And work it in.
Oh yeah, that won't be no issue whatsoever.
That's a good
Good
idea.
idea.
Thank you, Brad.
I like that. Yeah, absolutely. And big shout out to Pennzoil Marine again for our support for 2019. They are the reason we have all this cool
Yes.
new equipment.
That is
And
exactly
I know I mentioned
right.
that last week, but I have got a lot of compliments on our sound. Jeff, you know how good the podcast is sounding. Anybody that downloads our podcast, guys, we appreciate it. But that's the reason we did this. We know that the live show and all is a big deal, but the podcast, we get a lot of listeners through our podcast, and having a good quality mic goes a long way. All right.
Yes.
One more question.
Mike Harris that was the last question.
Oh, Mike said hopefully Arey can fish all 3 days. Well, the Classic this coming March, I can't fish it. There's no way I can fish that because I won't be qualified to fish it. So the first Classic that I can qualify to fish will not be till 2020, Mike. 2020. So I will be working the Classic all 3 days of the Classic, which is not far from us now. I told you we have to wrap this show up because people will not stop cracking on me. All right,
you're getting bad.
What's the last question, Brian? Pick out a question. You might have to scroll back because
I'm going to have to get away from the lotion jabs.
All right, pick us out one more question. And
all right, here's a kind of a hot topic. Jimmy Bass asks, do you think guides should be able to enter Costa events on their lake and fish only that one?
Costa events?
Yes.
On their lakes and only fish that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think so as well.
Yeah, at that level, you have such a mix of, and really the percentage of full-time anglers is even smaller at that level. I mean, what would you say at a Costa event? How many of those guys are full-time professional fishermen? 10? 15?
10 to 20 at the most.
Okay.
Out of, like, the Costa events, most of them are fielding 200 to 250 boats. So maybe 20 couple true professional anglers that like that's how they make their living is just fishing.
Right.
So that would be my guess. I think it's fine. Like I don't mind it at all.
Yeah. Yeah. Brian, Brian's fished them for years, and I've fished them off and on through the years, and I don't see anything wrong with it. I mean, personally, I welcome the competition. I want to fish against the best anywhere I go.
Exactly. That's the way I feel. And most of the time, most people don't look at it, but if somebody that guides on a lake, they know there's exceptions out there, but most guides have certain things that they run, and they never stray from that. So somebody coming in with a fresh mindset, practicing for 3 days, I mean, I can't tell you how many times people say, I can't believe y'all caught them like that, or why were you catching them like that? I mean, that's not what you do right now. And it's amazing just how many times you hear that because people get stuck doing the same thing over and over. They don't go out with an open mind and try to find different things.
Yeah, absolutely. And like Joey Randall just said, he said, if you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. And that's so true. And if you're fishing a coastal level event, you got to already expect that you're fishing against some pretty stiff competition.
Right.
And on top of that, I don't know how to say it any other way. I mean, I don't think there's any room to complain about, good fishermen jumping in, especially locals,
Not at all.
Not at that level. I mean, if it was a club tournament or a local team trail that, prohibits pros from fishing or whatever it is, and that's a little different. But, I
don't see how anybody could get upset for a guide fishing an event. Like, if anything, the guide's got more to lose because
he's expected to do well.
Yeah, say that's your job is take Norman, for example. Say I guided on Norman. I didn't fish professionally. I just guided 200-something days a year. And I've jumped in all the tournaments that came to Norman. If I didn't do good, what's that going to reflect like on my guide business, So you got more to lose. Like
absolutely.
If you go out there and finish dead last in every tournament you enter, everybody's going to say, well, guy, he don't ever catch him in a tournament. I won't pay him to be a guy.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, tournament results, it's all available to the public online. All you got to do is click a few buttons, and you can find out if Bryan Thrift's a full-time guide on Moss Lake, and he's never won a tournament or finished in the top whatever out there. I mean, who wants to hire him, So, Kevin Clark said guides paying the same entry fee. That's right.
That's exactly right.
Kristen said Ernie has our show on surround sound. I like it. Nice. All right, time for the trivia question, guys. Don't forget our hats are available. Jeff, get ready to throw it up. You ready? Now, letstalkfish.com. our these sweet Let's Talk Fish hats are available.
And also, I just saw a comment about YouTube. And in 2019, we're going to make some changes, and we're going to start going to YouTube a lot more and posting a lot of videos. Hey, seems like
we said something about that when we started, and somebody didn't want to do that.
So just go subscribe to our channel, Let's Talk Fish on YouTube. But we're gonna try to step it up in 19 on the YouTube level. So appreciate that.
Yep.
And also go join our private group on Facebook. We're gonna be doing a lot of cool things in there coming up as well.
Is that where Matt's lotion comes into problem?
Yeah, there's actually a deal on Working Man's Lotion.
I had to
Starting
Man's.
tomorrow.
I had to throw that in.
It's working hands, not working man's.
Oh.
I think it's
So,
working hands. Something like that. All right, here we go.
Trivia question.
Trivia question time. All right, guys. Who was the first angler to win the Bassmaster Classic in their home state, and what lake was it on? Who was the first angler to win the Bassmaster Classic in their home state, and what lake was it on? I need the name of the angler
question.
and the lake. The name of the angler and the lake. Yeah, I mean, Joey, you can win again. I mean, anybody can win. Ernie Wallace or
You
Ernie.
give me the answer, or are you going to call the winner?
Oh, you want
It's
the answer?
except for David Williams. He can't win.
Can you read that? You can read that, can't you? Yeah, no pros
No professional
are
anglers
allowed.
can win.
Brian Clary, it's okay that you missed the show, man.
Write that out. What is that word?
It's huh? You can't.
I mean, I think I know
And
what
Jeff
it says.
determines the winner. Whatever he sees on his
Yep.
feed first,
I got the winner.
we got a winner.
Hey, I just got a text from my buddy. So this works. Oh, we got a winner. Who's the winner?
Call it out.
Shane Dowdy.
Shane Dowdy or Doty.
I don't know. Could be either.
All right, Shane is the winner tonight of our trivia question. I got a text from a buddy of mine that said he's got an outfitter that's already ready to trade a deer hunting trip for a fishing trip.
Ooh.
See, I knew that would work. I knew that would work. All right, so Shane, send us a message on our Facebook page, and we will shoot you back a code to redeem at flwfishing.com for your competitor membership package. And next week, what are we talking, Brian?
We're talking swim baits.
Big swim baits.
Big swim. We're talking
What's our minimum? What's the
tournament swim
smallest?
baits and big swim baits.
Well, they're all tournament swim baits,
All right,
potentially.
let's
We got to put a minimum on it. We don't want to bring 2.8 Kitex or something in
yeah,
here.
5 inches.
5-inch minimum. Okay. All right.
Yeah, we'll go 5-inch minimum.
And soft and hard baits, right?
Yes.
All right. I'm just going to bring like a couple individual
Yeah.
ones because you're bringing a big box.
Yeah, I'll
and,
bring a bunch.
and if we can get Tater Hog on here, it'll be
We
good.
may get the hog on here.
It'll be the hog. The hog.
The hog.
All right. So guys, next week we're talking big swim baits. It will be action-packed show, especially if we get Tater Hog in here. We'll have a lot of
And
cool
we
stuff.
might
y'all
learn
see.
something too, because I'm sure there are a lot of our viewers like y'all out there that know a lot more about big swim baits than we do. And you know, we'll take some tips on it.
Yeah, Ricky Bridges said, "Who's Bodie Duckett?" Close. Yep, close.
I'm
So
assuming it was a typo. Autocorrect happens to me all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Close enough.
Close enough. Jeff determines the winner.
that's right. Shane, send us a message on our Facebook page. We will get you that code, guys.
Did
Appreciate
you
watching.
ever say what the answer was?
Yeah, Boyd Duckett, Lay Lake. Oh, I'm
Boyd
sorry.
Duckett,
Maybe I
Lay
didn't
Lake.
say. Maybe I didn't say what the answer was. It was Boyd Duckett, 2007, Lay Lake. Since then, it happened again with Edwin Evers on Grand Lake in Oklahoma,
And Casey Ashley on Hartwell.
and Casey Ashley on Hartwell. So there's
3 times.
3 times. So Hartwell could be 50-50 because that's South Carolina and Georgia, but I guess it still counts.
Well, that's Casey's home lake. So
Okay. Well, home state was the question, but yeah,
Oh.
it still works.
Confusing.
So it has.
technicalities.
It's
man.
it's
Technicalities.
amazing though. It went how many years? So the first classic was what?
70 something.
Yeah, like 70. So it went like 40. No, like that's a lot of math. 37 years before it ever happened the first time, and then it happened 2 more times since then. So, all right, guys, thanks for watching. Appreciate everybody tuning in.
Thank you, guys.
When we can't go fishing, when it's cold, nasty, rainy like it is here, snowing everywhere else apparently.
Yeah.
We're going to
Everywhere.
sit right here and talk fish. So we'll see you guys next week talking big swim baits.
Big swim bait. See you guys.